everybody. How are you doing today? Have you ever felt that you or your spouse, or you and your spouse, I should say, are on two different pages? In other words, you want two different things. Maybe it's in regarding, how to do something, that she thinks it's better to do it this way and you think it's better to do it that another way. Or maybe it's in disciplining your kids. Maybe it's in how to raise the kids, how to spend your money. Okay, how do you get on the same page? That's what we're going to be talking about today. Hi, my name is Kelly. I am a pastor, police chaplain, marriage coach who helps couples have the lifelong marriage that they really want. And I'm the author of the book, Turn It Up, How to Have the Lifelong Marriage That You Really Want. So today, I'm actually going to read you a couple of pages from my book and make some comments on these things. Because really the best way to get on the same page is to create a win-win agreement. Okay, so let's talk about win-win. First off, and actually I'm going to turn to my book right now because it has the where I want to go with this. So I'm going to hold it up so you guys can see that I'm actually reading this. I'm on page 54 and 55, and I'll touch on page 56. But starting in page 54, win-win or win-lose. You see, the opposite of win-win is win-lose. So in a win-lose arrangement, okay, so the husband gets what he wants and the wife just has to go along with it. Or maybe you've heard that phrase, happy wife is happy life, okay? Well, that is true to a certain extent. And as much as I can give my wife what she wants, it does make life a lot easier, and I'm able to, serve her in this way. And most of the time, that really works for me and for our marriage. However, if you get to the point, gentlemen, where it's always, yes, dear, whatever you want, there are three different things that can result in that, okay? The first one is this, is that it's resentment, okay? And I'm looking at page 54 in my book. A win-lose situation occurs when one person gets what they want and the other person feels like they have lost. This is usually okay with the loser once in a while, okay? However, resentment will soon build when one person continues to lose in the decisions that are made in a marriage. Resentment, what is that? Why do you always get what you want? How come I never get what I want? And there's this pent up feeling of resentment that I don't like this, that you don't respect my input or my ideas, that it's just you ask me a question, but you've already made up your mind as to what you want to do. So why even bother asking me about it? Why don't you just tell me, here's what we're going to do? But that's not good either, because then you're not walking in agreement. You're not walking as a partnership. You're walking in a dominant role and then a subordinate role. And I've talked before on my videos about how the best way to have a great marriage is that both partners are on the same level. You don't have a dominant and a subordinate. You don't have a parent and a child in an adult relationship, but you have two people on the same level that are discussing things and planning things. Remember Genesis 2:24, God's plan for marriage. And by the way, if you don't know this, 5 times in the Bible, this verse occurs. And if God put it in the Bible 5 different times, I think it's because he wanted us to really understand it and get it and apply it to our lives. The verse goes like this, Genesis 2:24. It is slightly different in the other versions, but it's the same idea and more or less the same wording. Genesis 2:24 goes like this, a man would leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. Well, let me tell you, folks, you cannot walk in that oneness, that unity that God wants your marriage to be in, if you are creating win-lose agreements or win-lose arrangements. So the first thing that happens is that resentment. A second thing that happens is resignation. This is where one of you in your marriage just simply says, okay, whatever you want. And that person then just checks out, okay? They just resign themselves to the fact that they're never going to get what they want. that the dominant person is always going to, just whatever, push and pressure or use guilt. And talk about boundaries. Oh my goodness, there are no boundaries in a win-lose situation. Why? Because the person that's losing may try to say something. Hey, I'm not really sure. I think that's a good idea. I think maybe, oh, no, 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 it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Just trust me. I'll do it my way. It'll work out the best. Believe me, it'll be okay. And the dominant person just kind of overwhelms the other person. So if that happens enough, the subordinate one, if you will, the one losing is just going to resign. Whatever, doesn't matter. You're not really asking me my opinion. You're just telling me what you're going to do. So they just check out and they resign. And see what happens as well within that situation where the dominant person continues to just push. The other thing they do is that they if they don't get their way, okay, how about this? Have you ever experienced this with someone? If they don't get their way, what do? They pout. Yeah, they go into this whole immature sort of thing where they pout or they make you feel guilty or they pressure you until you agree. So pouting is like, well, okay, we'll do it your way. And then they just get on this hurt face as if, your way is the most ridiculous thing in the world, or that their feelings are hurt because they're not getting what they want. Just kind of like my grandkids. My grandkids are 4 and 6. And every now and then when we say no, when we set a boundary with them, they get sad. They don't like it. Maybe they get angry. Maybe they get mad. So sometimes dominant people in a relationship use anger. They use guilt. They pressure, or they withdraw. Okay, we'll do it your way. And then they give you the silent treatment then for the rest of the day, which is really painful. I don't know if you've ever been on the receiving end of that, but it's really painful. And you don't like it. So you go back and say, fine, we'll do it your way. Okay, well, I knew you'd see it finally. And now you're back to the same place. Win, lose, win, lose. So, 2 things I've given you. You can have resentment. You can have resignation. The third thing that happens when win, lose is the dominant style, if you will, in your marriage is divorce. Because finally the person, they resent it. Then they resign. They just kind of check out and say, yes, dear, whatever you want. They can reach that place where it's like, that's it, I'm done. I've had enough. I want out. You never listen to me. You never consider what I want. It's all about you. It's all about what you want. And sorry, go do it with someone else because I'm done. I'm leaving. And oftentimes when I talk with couples, both in marriage coaching conversations that I have with them, and or just somebody at the church, asking me for prayer, that what I've found is that there's so much built up resentment when that person leaves. The other person is totally blindsided. They don't have a clue that it was their dominant win-lose, whatever style of leadership in their home that caused their wife or their husband to eventually leave. So yeah, it is a contributing factor. Well, what did I do wrong? I always tried to please my wife. I always tried to give her what was best. Well, it's a partnership, guys. It's not a dominant dictatorship, okay? So anyways, once again, God wants 2 people to be united. So how do you have then a win-win arrangement in your marriage? I got 6 steps real quick that I'm going to give you. And once again, they're right here in my book. So let me read them to you. And I think this is going to really help you. Number 1 is have an attitude of love. Think about what you really want in your relationship. In other words, would you rather win or would you rather be close to your husband or your wife? Have a good relationship, have a healthy relationship. If you're all about winning, guess what? Chances are you might win and then drive that person away, like I just said, okay? So to have a great relationship, you need to invite them into that partnership with you. If you want to be close, if you want to have a strong connection, if you want to turn it up, yeah, absolutely. seek to love. And then how do you do that? Number two, choose to give and serve. When you love, give, and serve and make your spouse happy, your spouse will want to do the same for you. It's that whole reciprocal kind of thing. That's what a great marriage is built on. It's built on love and trust and giving. Jesus said, what does it say? John 3:16, for God so loved that he gave. You see, it's in giving to our spouse that we honor them, that we serve them, that we bless them. And when they're feeling blessed, then what? They're going to be open to receive from you and to then work on things together with you. All right, number three, seek to understand. Instead of focusing on getting your point across or letting your spouse know what you want, pay attention and seek to understand what your spouse wants or needs and why. So a couple of thoughts on this, and I've got other videos that deal with understanding, but let me just remind you, how do you find that place of understanding so that you can create the win-win agreement? You've got to first listen. Really pay attention. Let them share what is on their heart, what they want, and why. Listen, then you're going to repeat back to them in your own words what your spouse just said, and maybe add some emotions to it. Well, you think or you feel that if we're harsh with our kids when we discipline them, that they're going to reject us and that we're not going to have a good relationship with them, and that really scares you. And okay, I can understand a bit of your perspective and why maybe you give in to the kids all the time because you're afraid of their rejection maybe. And then the third thing is you say, is that it? Is that it? You listen, you then repeat back, and then you ask, is that it? Because that gives your spouse then the opportunity to say, no, not really. It's not really that, it's this. And then they get to clarify, they get to explain, they get to add more information to you. And then you repeat that back to them, and you do that until the person that is sharing finally says, yeah, that's it. Then, okay, and it takes some time to do this, but it's so worth it, by the way. Okay, then after let's say if you're a husband, after your wife shares their perspective and their emotions behind it, and then you repeat back and they say, yeah, that's it, then guess what? It's your turn. I was talking with a couple the other day, and this guy's problem was that he kept interrupting. And when I got him to think about why is he interrupting, he realized that he's afraid that he's never going to have a turn. In other words, his wife is only going to express what's on her mind, in her heart. And so getting them to take turns and to guarantee that, listen, if you understand, I got his wife to agree to this. If you understand me, I'll give you a turn, and then it'll be your turn to express your perspective and your idea. So you switch roles, and then you do it again with the other person now is in the understanding role, and they're going to repeat back to you what you just said and add maybe some emotion of what they think you might be feeling. So understanding, guys, is huge. And spend some time with this. Really work on this. It does seem awkward. It does seem a little foreign or strange to use this still, but I want to tell you, it changes everything. Why? Because when you feel understood, guess what it does? It opens your heart to then consider the other person's point of view. And that's point number 4 here, is to allow your spouse to influence you. Your spouse sees things differently than you. Accept this and allow them to share their perspective on the situation or decision. Chances are that he or she is seeing something you do not see. Their input can keep you from making a bad decision, but first you must be willing to receive it. So, that's step number 4, is you got to open your heart and ask God to help you, but is to recognize that you don't have all the good ideas, okay? Maybe your husband has got some great ideas about how to run the house or how to discipline the kids or what to do financially so that you can, reach your financial goals, or vice versa. Gentlemen, maybe your wife has some really good ideas. Even if they don't understand everything about your job, I got to tell you, when I've shared situations with my wife about what I'm facing at the church or in leadership or a project, man, God has given her some amazing ideas for me to consider. But first, I have to be open to receive that, to allow her to influence me. And that's a whole, in fact, I have another video on that that you might want to check out. Number 5 is this: give up your position so that you can consider new options. Let me continue reading. This may sound like losing, but when you hold your desires loosely, you are able to create something that is actually better than what you originally desired. Often it is our pride or selfishness or simply hating to lose. Oh boy. Simply hating to lose that causes us to dig in our heels and fight for something that does not really matter. You must first yield or give up your position before you can consider. Oop, turning the page. I got stuck. Before you can consider any new ideas your spouse may want to share with you. When you first yield, you win by getting a closer connection with your spouse, and you win when you come up with something that makes both of you happy. So, guys, listen. This will change everything in your relationship, in your marriage. Learning how to create the win-win, but it's giving up your position. And just saying, well, instead of grasping it with a closed fist of this is right and this is what we've got to do, and you're not. But when you open up and let go of that and say, well, maybe there's another way, maybe there's another perspective, maybe there's another solution that I haven't thought of. I want to tell you, it changes everything. But it is our pride oftentimes. Why? Because we hate to be wrong. And so it's not a matter of being right or wrong, by the way. It's a matter of perspective. It's a matter of opinion. And so recognize that, you know what? Maybe there's more than one way to skin a cat. Maybe there's more than one way to accomplish this goal or to solve this problem. So be open and give up your position so that you can consider other options. Okay. Then number 6, finally, the last step here is be creative and think up a turd. Sorry about that. Be creative and think up a third alternative. If you want to go to McDonald's and your spouse wants to go to Burger King, instead of choosing either of them, you could decide to go to Taco Bell. Okay. In other words, why create an option where one person wins and the other loses? Instead, create a choice that both of you can embrace. Oh, guys, I want to tell you, this will change everything in your relationship, in your marriage. Why? Because what you're going to do is you're going to end up on the same page again. You're going to be close. You're going to have unity. Instead of division, instead of going 2 different directions. And let me tell you, if you continue to go 2 different directions, eventually things in your marriage are going to deteriorate and get worse. They're not going to get better. But by learning how to create win-win arrangements and deciding together, you know what, that's a great idea. Let's do it that way. Then everything can change and you guys come together in agreement, and then you move forward as a couple to handle the challenges and struggles of life. Life is hard. Life has problems. Life is difficult, and there's a lot of hurt and pain. And one of the things that create a lot of hurt and pain is that we get caught up in trying to just force our way in our marriage. So instead, back off from that, open up, consider, listen, understand, and then create something together that both of you embrace. Yeah, this is a great way. Now you're not winning and she's losing. She's not winning and you're losing. What's happening is that both of you win. Yes, guys, you can do this. And if you need some help, give me a call. Send me a direct message. Book a call with me. If you go to my website, turnitup.coach, there's a button there that says book a call, and be glad to help you with that situation or give you that some thoughts on how to do that for free. Okay, so the initial call is always free. And then if coaching is a good fit for you, we can talk about how to make that happen. By the way, when it So the other thing that you can do, I'm sorry, thinking of too many things at once, get a copy of my book. Read this chapter. It's chapter 1, chapter 2, how to become one with your spouse. And I think it'll make a big difference in your relationship. So I'm here for you. Let me know if I can help. And let me know if there's anything I can do for you. The book is available. The coaching is available. And anyways, that's it for now. God bless you guys. Oh, one last scripture I wanted to share with you. In the Old Testament, the prophet Amos writes these words: "How can two walk together unless they agree?" Yeah, powerful. So go for that place of win-win. Create those agreements where both of you are happy with the direction that you're going. And I guarantee you, you're going to have a blessed marriage. All right. God bless you. I'm Kelly, pastor, police chaplain, marriage coach that marriage coach that helps couples to have the lifelong marriage that they really want. And most importantly, a follower of Jesus Christ. God bless you guys. Until next time, bye-bye.